crumb coat and then finish coat. So first we're going to split the cakes, then crumb coat them, then put them in the refrigerator for 10 minutes, let the outside of the crumb coat solidify, then we put the second coat of buttercream on it. That's two-stage thing, helps keep the butter, keeps them from purging to the outside of it. Now, if you're frosting a cake and there's 2 layers of different colors, be smart. When you're building it, go chocolate, white on the top. Or chocolate, and the 2 whites on the top. Because the more surface with dark showing, the more apt you could have crumbs coming through. Crumbs showing through here, you see marginally. Here, it looks like a little anthill just coming out. And then it is a lot of problems trying to fix it up. So taking the cake out of the mold. We did this in class already. Put this, it has to be on the base here. Okay, so here, make sure you got, I bend, notice I bend the spatula there, and then I turn the pan so that it's butted up against the side. Then I'm feeling the bottom of the cake. I feel it loosen up on this side, but I know it's attached here, so I flip it over that side.
Who made these cakes?
Who made these cakes? 2.0 for that student.
Went from a 4.0 to 2. Nice.
Okay. All right, so it doesn't come out. Now, if this wasn't butted up against and you had a slight angle, or a lot of people have it like here and they have it like this, they don't make sure that tip is against it, you're going to have a little wedge cut out along the whole side there. So really focusing on that makes it so much easier. When you got a lot of crumbs, or you got these heavy, or if you go like this, out, you're gonna have these cuts in the cake, and when you're frosting the frosting on the outside, there's no substance to hold it together, and then you get frustrated because it's hard to get it all together, okay? All right, so we're gonna split both cakes, so we'll take both. Now, when I'm frosting the cake, I wanna have this side that was in the pan, I want this side, the surface up. I don't really want to have this side up. I want to have this side up. It's better. Never have the cut side up. The cut side is all kind of like, it'll kind of crumb up on you, and then, you know, you're just trying to marginalize the amount of crumbs you got going through. So here you can see this one, this was the side that was in the cake pan. This is the other side. So we're going to split this first. Look at the colors right there. Put this on our turntable. Again, like I showed you in class, mark it halfway up. Sometimes you split the cake in twice into 3 pieces. Then once you're in the groove, just move to the center. Let the knife do the work, like you're sawing a piece of wood. Okay? So when I'm building it, that'll be my bottom layer. That'll be my bottom layer, which I'll show you how to build it. Okay, so next we're going to put this up. Split this one, same thing. Let the knife do the work. Saw. Keep it even. Now you're in the groove. Keep it parallel. 2 lines at equal distance, right? Put that on our cutting board. Okay? Until this one's really flaky. Okay? Alright, so let's clean this off. Crumbs are the enemy. So we want to always get the crumbs out. So this is gone. Okay, wash my hands. Time out. Has anybody got a towel there? Okay, so now we're building it. I need that pastry cream. Who's got my pastry cream? So we're going to build this on the cardboard circle. So, non-slip mat down first. Cardboard next. Thank you.
Kristen A is coming.
Okay, little bit of buttercream on the bottom to keep the cake from sliding off the cardboard. Put a little buttercream on the bottom. When I'm building this up, the last layer on this should be the top. So we're going to put this one first. I'm going to alternate them both. Make sure you get it exactly in the center. It sounds silly, but build it up. If you're trying to get the cake really squared up, If you slice it even and you frost it, you know, even the layer in between, it's going to be perfect anyway. But a way to guarantee that is when I'm splitting the cake and I cut through, I'll take a little bit of buttercream and put a line up the side. Split this cake, line up the side. So then when I'm building it, I'll line up all the lines together. I put the filling and everything on that. And I got that buttercream line, I'll take this one, buttercream line. So the cake originally was perfect. So now we'll just continue on with that, keeping that same structure that you had originally, okay? All right, so we're gonna take, now keep in mind that this is water base. Looks a little thin too. Okay, so this is water base. This is fat base, right? Fat and water don't go together. So don't let this fall over the side walls of your cake, okay? If it's going off the side, then you're trying to manipulate that on this wet surface, and all it's gonna do is move and groove, okay? All right, next, I got some raspberry jam, so I'm cleaning out the cooler. I'll take some jam. Okay, that's done. Cake number 2, so we're doing the white one, so it's the bottom layer. There, so make sure when you're putting it on, you're not building it. It's got to be all totally straight on it. Okay, next the pastry cream again. Now, putting more isn't, I know this is, you get to take your cake home, it's for you and your family, whatever you want to do with it, okay? It's an after Easter cake, okay? Whatever. More isn't better. Even though it's free, the problem is if you have more on it, the cake slides when you hit the brakes or whatever on this. This cake is so light. Something going on that's kind of moving as we're doing it. Okay, we're going to take, so if you put too much filling on the inside, you're going to have more issues with it as you're building it and transporting it. Everybody say hi to Bella.
Hi, Bella.
Aaron's been fired. We got a new person.
What?
Kidding. Okay, next one up. Now normally we do a single layer cake first, and then we do a double to get you used to it, but we're throwing you right to the wolves with the double on the first one. Okay?
Is this how you build a wedding cake, Chef?
Same thing.
But you can use different stuff to bind the cakes, not just pastry cream, obviously.
Well, pastry cream, you got to refrigerate it, so a lot of times they don't use that kind of stuff on the inside. So now we take the filling on this one. Yeah, she's never going to see me do pastry here.
I took your
No, my buddy.
gonna see you.
Do pastry.
Doing pastry.
This is the last pastry to
This is my last demo of putting a cake together. Oh, so- Okay, so the last layer goes on. You can put a cardboard circle on the top of this to get it nice and flat. I'm looking at the sides and that. So the first thing you're going to do is the crumb coat. So eliminate all the crumbs that you have on it. Any crumbs on the surface. Let's get rid of this. Someone can take this out of the way. You give him a good job, and he just took the cutting board away.
I know. Well, positive reinforcement.
Okay, so now we're gonna do the crumb coat on this. So this filling's gone too, so we'll take this out, take this away, and now we're doing this. Now, here is the crumb coat that we have that we're gonna put on it, the frosting. You never wanna put the frosting on here, do this and have extra on this, and then dig back in here. Because if there's any crumbs in here, you've just screwed up everything. If I'm doing a wedding cake, I will split the buttercream in half. I'll put half for decorating, half for frosting and I don't intermix the two, then you don't have that problem of intermingling. That can go. I just need the silk hat.
Oh, you just want me to try
Okay,
it?
so we're gonna do the crumb coat on this. Okay, so if I were to take this cake and divide this into quarters, it's easier to frost a cake too with the non-offset, okay? If I were to divide the cake in quarters, I'm only frosting in one quadrant, from the middle to the outside edge, and then turning the thing. I'm not going over the top of the whole thing. I'm just working in one little small area, bringing it to the outside edge. This gets it smooth, but this also, you're trying to eliminate any air pockets in that you have. So then notice the angle of the spatula. The angle of the angles are important in pastry, right? Get the angle flat. This, with this heavy angle, takes off. This angle flattens out, okay? So you always want to consider what angle you're addressing the product that you have. Okay, so now this is 2 inches high. We have two, the cake is sliding. We have two 2-inch cakes, so that's 4 inches. So you only put buttercream 4 inches up the side, okay? Keep using this that you have, okay? Utilize this up so you don't have like a quart of it at the end. Again, forward and back, forward and back. So you're going forward, back, forward, back, forward, back. Now, when you want to get off to get more, don't take the spatula and rip it out this way because it'll be loaded with crumbs. Just go backwards. You still got a little bit of crumbs there. Now I cleaned off my spatula. It's nice and clean. Now I can go back into the buttercream. So I'm going 2 inches, 4 inches on this one about, on the side. Again.
So you're talking on the spatula, only go about 4 inches.
Yeah, only go 4 inches up. Some people only go, you know, if you only go this far, you're only doing the bottom.
Right,
You're
right.
you're going to be rubbing on the cake too much, and then you could get crumbs coming up. Okay, so we got this. Okay, so now I'm getting everything nice and even. If you got extra buttercream, give it to your partner. You know, the crumb coat. So between you and the person on your table, utilize everything on it. Now you're looking at it going, what the heck, man? He's got all this crumb showing. All I'm doing in this first coat is locking it in because we're going to refrigerate it. Okay, so this goes in the refrigerator. 15 minutes, half an hour at the most. I don't like to go much longer than that. Why? Because if it's too long in the refrigerator, it's super cold. This is fat, it wants to solidify, and then you're putting it on and the cake's starting to thicken up in certain areas and thinner, so then it's harder to frost it when you're trying to do it. So you might get the cake, the frosting will start thickening up. Now, I'll always look at the cake and see it's not in the center of the turntable because I'm going to be moving the turntable more. So I always just move it, adjust where it's at. Now I'm going to pretend like we had the 15 minutes. It's a little harder to frost, but we'll do it anyway. When you do the second coat, it's better to put way too much on than not put enough. Okay? Now, the reason why is if, let's say, the crumbs are showing here on the bottom, and I put a thin layer. Ah, crap, I see more crumbs coming through. Grab more, and you're doing more, and then you might have to shave it all off and do it again. It's better to put too much and get a heavy coat and then take a little bit off than do the thin thing over and over again and then have that issue. So again, back and forth. Middle, I'm getting the outside. Spin the cake. Frost it off,
So
okay?
the first coat, you're just solidifying the cake. The second coat is more like decorating.
The second is your finished coat,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
First is like Bondo on a car, and the second's your finished paint
Yeah.
job, you know?
It's like a house.
Okay? Yeah, like the primer and the
Yeah.
finish coat, okay? So again, we'll do it kind of in front of you. Now, when I'm doing this, this is what I always see. I'm not showing anybody to do it, hold it like a pencil and do this. What you're doing is you're grabbing it like this, then you have it in your hand and flip your hand over and then put it on the side of the cake. Now I have way more control holding it this way to try to hold it this way or this way. You've got nothing, you can't adjust. So when you have it this way, you have it all together. If you want to leave it, you can leave it, or you can stay, whatever you want to do.
I wanted to watch.
Okay. All right, so now we're going to put the second. Now, don't make it too thin on the second one. I've got a little bit thick on the end. It's better to let that trail through, adding it through, bringing it through. Now, your cardboard circle was how big?
8 inches.
No, 9 inch. What size cake is it?
9 is 10.
9-inch cake. So it's a 9-inch cake, 9-inch cardboard circle. It's always the same size cardboard circle as the cake. And the reason I say that, if you have a 9-inch cardboard circle on the cake, and then afterwards you're going to use this, if you're rubbing this around a circle and they're all lined up, you've got a perfect round. If you put this exactly squared up, you've got perfect walls. So between the two, you kind of set yourself up for success. I'm going to go again, just make sure that I got all the air pockets out. You're frosting the cake and the cardboard circle. Okay, so we'll take this, we'll put it on the side. Now, when you're doing this, angles. I told you angles in pastry. So, again, we're a little bit askew. Move it in the center. Angles, this angle here is an acute angle. Okay? So keep it like that. So when you're going across, keep that angle nice and even. If you go like this, you're going to shave it off. And if you go even a minute amount of pressure, you're going to rip into the cake and you're going to have crumbs all over the place. Okay? So this just keeps it nice and even. Okay? Now, if you walk, you always want to stand back from the cake and look at it. And I'm standing back, I see my walls are like this. Sometimes I see students, they're like this. Sometimes I see students, they're like this. If you step back, you realize that, but it tells you that your angle here is not right. Your angle here, you're going, and you're going around it. Or your angle's going like this, okay? So you want to kind of avoid that. Okay, so now we're going to do now here's the dilemma you have with the cake. When you do the sides, perfect, it all trails up and you get this thing on the side. When you do the top, it moves it off to the side. If I'm decorating a border on the top, which you are going to do, I will cut a little bead off the side and that's where my border is going to be. Okay? And the nice thing about it is, if you're decorating on something that's a hard 90-degree angle, let's just take this. Our pastry tube, and you're trying to decorate on this, if you're a hair over to this side, it's falling down the walls. If you're a hair over here, it's going this way. But if you have a small, thin, smaller than this, little platform, you're right there, right angle the whole time. Boom, 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 with your border all the way across. But if you have this angle, usually when I'm doing a cake with this, I get the sides up and then go all the way around and square it off. But normally I won't have a border there. I might have something inside it, but not on the edge. If I'm doing something on the edge, I will do this little thing on the side. That's just something I do. And it's way easier for students to get that. Okay, so on the top, we're going to keep this totally flat on the top. The sides, I want you to comb the sides. So these are cake combs. You know, they're different sizes. Here's different shapes to it. You get different looks to it on each one. This one's a little longer, which is really good for a 4-inch cake, right? It's taller. versus this. It's pretty close, okay? Now, I want you to realize though with this, if we're frosting the cake and we're using this one, I need that much frosting, at least on the cake to do it. I need from the tip of that to there, that much frosting on it. So that's really not that much frosting. But then when you're looking at this, you're going, I need that plus that, you're up to that. You're a ½ inch of frosting on it, okay? Because your cone, you'll have all those lines and you don't want to see the cake through it. So we're gonna do the small one. Again, the same thing, acute angle, this angle, not like this and not like this. Now, the temptation is you get this going around and then you bring this toward yourself and go, that's the temptation, but look what happens to the angle.
Oh.
You're perpendicular. You want to, when you get it all done, off, okay? So here we go, we'll go around. It's got that little hole and I can't stand the little hole they put in the thing. Okay, even pressure. Okay, so it's pretty good. Okay, no matter what, you're going to get this at the end. And you also kind of keep in mind too, while I'm decorating, I'm doing a lot of stuff on it, so my border's going to not show that. The temptation with the cake is you're never, for the people that are really picky, they just do over and over again, and the cake starts, the buttercream starts turning yellow and darker because you've just overworked the living heck out of it. So at some point, you got to realize it's as good as it's going to get. So we're going to do the top one more time. Bring that outside edge out a little bit. So we're pretty flat, okay? All right, so now I'm going to cut this edge just a hair. Okay, so now now if you want to get it, I don't want you to do this, but it's something you can do. There's a few ways to get this extremely flat. One way is to dip this in hot water, dry it off completely, and then do it. You're melting it like, if you screw it up, then you got to grab more buttercream, throw it on it. It doesn't want to stick to it. That's why I'm saying don't do it. The other way is a way that I do it. It's kind of like really a non-traditional way, which is kind of strange. Make sure I have no crumbs. This is cold water. I'm going to do the side one more time because it looked like it bowed out a little bit right there, which I'm not happy about.
What would cause it to bow out?
Well, the cake's really soft. It hasn't been in the refrigerator.
Okay.
I have to make sure mine looks better than yours.
I'm sure there'll be no problem there.
Okay, so the other way. Will you help me?
Sure.
Come on over here.
I need gloves. We're gonna wash my
I
hands.
hope you have a sense of humor. Okay. Okay, so come on, when you're taking this off, you put water on the top, and then you always make, because you want it to glide over the top, light pressure. So when I'm putting this is the pressure I'm going to put on it going over the top. That amount of pressure, just barely that amount of pressure when I'm sliding over the top. So when we're doing this, I need you to hold this.
Hold the base.
Yeah. Okay, so we put this here. Aaron, last time. I know, it's sad. So you always want to make sure this is wet so it glides right off, and then you take it over the top, and then you go over, and then make sure you get all the water off. It's very important to get the person totally drenched because they make you take the test later.
That cake is nice and smooth.
But the cake is smooth, and that's all that counts.
That's all
in
that
life.
counts.
Okay, please destroy the videos. It's evidence used against me in the court of my friend over here. Okay, we're done. Thank
Take
you.
a bow.
You're the last
Well
one
done.
that I got to do that.
Thank
I did
you.
that every class
I was
for.
part of the pastry class, see? The grand finale.
Great nice work.
That's crazy that I'm teaching this class next year. That sounds.
Yeah, it is what it is.
End of an era.
End of the thing. You can't dwell on the past, you gotta move forward.
That's right.
Okay, where's the glucose? Okay, I got glucose. Where's my cardboard
make
circle? You
fingerprints.
did a cardboard circle? Okay, one last piece of advice. She's looking like she's got a spoon, like she's gonna taste it.
That takes the icing.
Oh, that was a high press. Okay, so when you're doing this, I go around first and make sure it's cut on the bottom, so you're not gonna rip it off. Put this in the crumb, go underneath it, move it to the side. If I drop it on the floor, the last one, that would be funny.
Awesome.
Okay, all right, grab the cake, grab that thing, wherever it is. Okay.
Let's go around the.
Okay, so how I recommend this is kind of important. You kind of put this here in there, put one finger only, move it up to where you want it to go. Make sure it's even. 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, a little bit, it's even. Then put the spatula under, keep an angle, lower it. Don't try to go fast. Who's the fast one here? There's one that always likes to do things fast. Go like this, shoom, and there'll be, your finger will go up the side into the cake. I've seen it, I don't know, 15 times, okay? And if you do it and the class laughs, I'll be laughing with them, okay? All right? Okay, that's it.
Wrap.
So you're